Today I'd like to present to you Mr. Stephen Wu, our country's leading legal futurist. In high school, Mr. Wu was captain of the debate team, in the fall plays for 3 years, and marching in concert band for 4 years, and a part of the German and Math Club. Mr. Wu is the founding partner of the Silicon Valley law firm, Cook, Holbrook & Wu. He is the chair of the American Bar Association, section of Science and Technology Law. Mr. Wu is a pioneer in secure electronic commerce and information security law. He has also written a total of 5 books on those topics. Today, he is the worldwide head of the legal team, Crisis Commons. And to top off his already impressive resume, Mr. Wu is a scoutmaster and a Sunday school teacher. It is my honor to induct Mr. Stephen Wu into the Chagrin Falls School's Achievement Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Mr. Wu.
Thank you very much, Lauren, for that kind introduction. I am honored by this award this evening, and I'm humbled. I want to recognize my family, my beloved wife, Mary, my daughter, Elizabeth, and my son, Michael, and my daughter, Catherine, who couldn't be here. I really want to thank them for their love and support. I'm blessed to have them. I am sorry that my late parents could not be here. I am very thankful for the blessings that they were in my life. And my beloved sister, of course, who stood at this podium 4 years ago, and I have always enjoyed her inspiration over the years. I also want to recognize Mr. Hugh Smith, who was my best friend in 4th grade and has been my best friend ever since. I also want to recognize Kellyanne Moss and her late parents, Jerry and Ruth, for their loving friendship over the years. I've been blessed to have them in my life. I'd also like to recognize some other friends, Will, Tom, and Ken Foley, who couldn't be here, but we ran around together in high school, let's put it that way. And Charles Lang, who was my mentor in the Order of the Arrow, which is the National Honor Camping Fraternity of Boy Scouts of America. And I just had dinner with him at the Boy Scout National Jamboree, and it was so great to see him after all this time, because I live in California and he lives in Chagrin and is soon to be moving to Michigan. But I do want to talk about the teachers that I feel so blessed to have. Mr. Leonard Balk, who was the debate coach, he provided me the skills that I use every day now, and I owe him my life and livelihood. Dr. William Foley, I really appreciate the gift of music that he gave to me starting in 5th grade. Mr. Mario Gerhardt, who gave me the gift of opening my eyes to new cultures around the world. Mr. Neil Wheatcraft, talking about the rigor and learning about science and the exploration of science. And science and technology is what I do now day to day, even though I'm a lawyer. Mr. Battles, Mr. Hurst, Mr. Hensler also added to an intense scientific curiosity that really filled my heart and now is something that I can use every day. Mr. John Janatos, I'm so pleased to have him here this evening, and he was my history teacher, and Mr. Janatos, I enjoyed his history class very much, and I, of course, owe him lunch at Dink's Restaurant. I'm so blessed to have these teachers, and what I didn't want to spend too much time with thanks, but I also wanted to mention some of what I do day to day. I do trade secret litigation, copyright and trademark litigation, and I help new technology companies start up and do their technology transactions. But I also work in cutting-edge areas of the law. As chair of the section of Science and Technology Law of the American Bar Association, I'm working with issues such as the future of evidence. When we talk about, for example, the CSI effect in prosecutions of criminal defendants, do jurors expect to see CSI evidence every time they have a case in front of them? Also, micropayments and virtual worlds and multi-user online games. Virtual goods like the flowers that you buy on Facebook for $1 is now a $1.6 billion industry. We're going to have legal issues that arise from that. Information security, privacy, clean tech and climate change, biotechnology, nanotechnology, all of these areas of technology are now coming to the fore and creating legal issues. We have the power in our hands that we could only have imagined in previous generations. I've got an iPhone right here. This has more power in it than mainframe computers that ran entire government agencies. Now we have that computing power in our fingertips. We have 3D media and displays. Think about the movie Avatar, for example. Those will be in use in business climates in everyday usage in upcoming decades. Distance learning and meeting through online connections like Skype and iChat, services like that. And cloud computing, which is a fancy term to say that instead of your information being on a local computer, you can now have it in the internet so that you can use it anytime with any device anywhere that you happen to be. These are already creating pressures for the legal community and for all of us as parents and educators to try to tell our future generations how to handle the changes that are going to come. Sweeping changes will continue in technology as time goes on. In fact, what people are talking about with some futures predicting full immersion virtual reality, for example. We may be, instead of going to a real office tower someday, we may be interacting through immersive virtual environments in what seems to all of us, or appears to all of us, to be an office building, but in fact is a computer simulation. And we can connect with people all over the world and do business in those kinds of environments. People will move seamlessly from virtual places to virtual places with enhanced physical presences, and I can maybe even present myself as a different vision altogether. I could be someone who presents as someone who's of a different gender or a different race, for example. But some of the additional things that I'm working on now are the implications of robotics and artificial intelligence for the law community. I'm working with Stanford Law School to develop programs concerning autonomous driving, for example. By one estimate, half the highway miles in the United States by the year 2030 will be driven by autonomous vehicles, that is essentially by robots. So what happens when the car crashes? These are the kinds of issues that we will be dealing with in the upcoming years. I teach virtual worlds and video game law at Santa Clara Law School. When we have those kinds of issues of people involved in these immersive 3D environments, what are the implications for employment law or discrimination? Those are the things that I try to tell people about, as well as user-generated content through Facebook and other social networks. These will all become important for the 3D environments that we will be having in the future. So what I ask is, are we preparing as adults, parents, as educators, our upcoming youth for the sweeping technology changes to come? And I think that we're trying to do our best, but we have to do more. And I think we owe it to students like Lauren and to the terrific students that we've had tonight to introduce the inductees tonight. We owe it to that generation to do more, to help them be prepared for the sweeping technology changes to come. And just to close out, I want to say that I really feel the family nature, what you were talking about, John. I feel that connection. And I feel like I can, to some extent, bring it with me to where I am now in the Silicon Valley, all the way across the country. I don't live in Chagrin Falls anymore. I live in Los Altos, California. But I happen to live in a city that has a town triangle, that has a town gazebo, that has a park that goes down a slope and there's water by that slope. It has a really strong family environment, a very supportive business community, and powerful communities of faith. That's Los Altos, California. And I feel like I can bring some of Chagrin, not quite all of it, but some of Chagrin with me, and I feel that family connection. And although I miss it, I have something like that where I am now. And I think it's even providential that the zip code in Los Altos, California, the zip code here is 44022. The zip code in Los Altos, California is 94022. I feel like it's almost a hand of providence that I'm there. So I thank you tonight for this award, and thank you so much for all of your support. And as educators, I really, it's an honor to be inducted at the same time as Mr. Mannering, because it's a privilege. Thank you so much.